What's up, guys? Welcome to my dirty fucking house. So, making myself some bacon. It's like 7:45 in the morning. And your boy nervous as fuck. Going through a lot, and... Oh, also, Pete the onesie. Get it? Because they're birds. Understand my... Did you get my joke? Anyways, so, oh, I gotta flip this shit. Hold on. Your boy's so coordinated. Look at this oh, God. Fuck. Damn it. Well, you know, that's... Okay. You know, let's not watch me flip that. Yeah, it's a better idea. Anyways, I have to go to courtroom for the second time. For anything that ever pertained to me ever. To talk about stuff that happened to me when I was little that shouldn't have happened. And I am not looking forward to it. I'm not feeling it. I don't want to go, but I have to. It's tomorrow. And all week, I've just been getting, like, manic and freaking out. Just being like, I can't fucking do this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not fun. I'm scared. That's an emotion. I'm kind of making this video more for myself so I can vent. But if any of you identify with this, then, you know, it'd be nice to help someone. But, not looking forward to it. So to give you a little lowdown on my backstory. When I was 6, my older brother woke me up in the middle of the night. I was wearing a pink thermal pajama set with gray kittens on the front. He told me to come with him and come to his room. And that night was my first sexual experience. I'm not going to say much more than that, because I don't really think I can right now. I don't think that's something that I should do to myself. But it definitely affected me as a person. Boundaries were confusing. And I didn't know whether or not I should say something to my mom, because I promised him I wouldn't tell. And I was very honest back then, and I still am. But, like, I meant more like I kept promises, even though I didn't understand that what happened to me was awful. That doesn't... Anyways. So... After, like, 7 years, I was, like, 13, 2007, I told my mom. And my mom didn't let me know that, my older brother had just gotten broken up with. And he was suicidal, so he was going to come over. The night I told her, I had been trying to go to sleep and just couldn't do it. And so I called her on the house phone, because that's when, like, the house phones were a thing. And we had the little, like call on the other phone, and she had her phone in her room, so I called her. And I told her that I needed her to come upstairs, because I need to tell her something really important. And she came upstairs. I basically tried to start telling her, and it just caught in my throat, because it was the first time I'd ever actually said it out loud, what had happened to me. And she was getting really upset and, like, told me to spit it out because she was, like, one of those kind of people. And I told her what happened. And when I was in the middle of talking to her about it, the older brother came back. She brought me downstairs and sat me at a table across from him, with him looking me down, and asked me to tell him what I just told her. I couldn't do it. I started sobbing. My mom told him, and he glared. He hid it really well, but I saw the fury behind his eyes, and that was the angriest I'd seen him next to when I called him a deadbeat, like 5 years later. Sorry, I'm kind of shaking. So that was scary, and I ran upstairs to my room and cried myself to sleep. Nothing happened after that. She didn't report it to anyone. She just tried to forget I said it. I guess she decided that I'd lied or something. I don't know why I would lie about something like that, especially because I had no reason to. But she doesn't make any sense, so. But, 3 years later, like, just went on with life. Everyone pretended I didn't say anything. He was being extra nice to me because I think he knew that if he did that, I would feel less inclined to do anything, which was true. Because I loved him and wanted to have a relationship with him. And all I wanted was an apology when I was a kid. When I first told my mom, I wanted him to apologize to me for doing that. Because it really messed me up. And instead of apologizing, I just got glared at and got scared. Because he was already physically abusive with me as a kid. And I was scared of what he would do to me. So when I was 16, I went to a counselor for the first time, because it's when I first came out as trans, and of course when I tried to kill myself, my mom didn't take me to a therapist, but when I come out as trans, all of a sudden I need a therapist. So, I was talking to a lady at Madigan Army Medical Center. She was a wonderful woman, this Asian lady, I can't remember her name. I told her my story. Like, I told her, like, about my early life. I told her about school. And I just kind of casually brought up what happened to me, because at that point, I'd become more open about it. And everyone I had ever told about what had happened to me just had this reaction like, oh, okay. And I was like, does this just happen to people? And so I didn't think it was that big of a deal. So she calls me after I get home and says that she has to report because she's a mandatory reporter and I'm a minor. He wasn't living with me at the time, so she didn't really actually have to report. But, and that's what she found out later. But when she told me this, I started panicking. Like, I was on the phone with just like, and she was like, and she wanted me to have some time to think about it. And so I told my mom, and she was all like, oh, yeah, let's do that. But we have to warn him first. And so my mother decides to call my older sibling. He asks to talk to me, and she gives me the phone. And he starts off the conversation with, what the fuck do you think you're doing? I said, I'm not doing anything. It's the truth, because it is. And he was like, this is some serious shit. you know, and I'm like, well, I'm not lying. And he was like, first you thought you were a lesbian, now you think you're a boy. Who the fuck's supposed to believe you? And I froze. I didn't know what to do. And I gave my mom the phone. I stood in the corner, the farthest corner of the like dining room, living room combo we had in the apartment, until she hung up. Because I refused to cry until she hung up the phone, because that would satisfy him. And I knew it because he loved when he made me cry my whole life. He would laugh at me. So, after that, he started putting major pressure on my mom and manipulating her. She became really suicidal. So, being the kind of person I am, I felt pressured to take it back. And I didn't know how to. Besides just saying, oh, I made it up. I lied. Because I was scared. I was terrified of losing my mom. Because I didn't want her to kill herself. Because I got sexually assaulted and Kyle went to jail. But that didn't make any sense. It didn't at the time. It makes less now. Why would she put so much pressure on a 16-year-old? Sorry, I'm thinking. A few months later, he came to live with us. Him and his wife, because his now wife, she was a girlfriend at the time. He lost his job and then stole her money. And once she ran out of savings, and he couldn't pretend that that was his income paying rent, because he was changing her online banking password so she wouldn't like be able to get into her own online banking. And so when she ran out of savings, that was for her son going to college. He didn't have any money to pay rent, and so they got evicted, but he didn't even tell her then. Told her the neighborhood was too dangerous and moved over to my home with my mom and me. Him and his girlfriend, now wife, were already going out of their way to alienate me. And so when they came to live with me, it got worse. Way worse. And long story short, my mom made herself financially dependent on him. And he was constantly abusing me. And 2 weeks after I turned 18, on April 13th, 2012, I lost my shit because I was tired of it. He was abusing me nonstop. I was literally living in my room because I didn't want to interact with him. I had just stopped spending time with my family because it wasn't worth it to have him around and have him criticizing me, or his girlfriend having me, like, criticizing me whenever I was around. So I just was in my room on the computer all the time, because why the hell come out of my room just to be insulted, you know what I mean? Or, like, treated like I wasn't there, which was fucking me up. So it's just like, no. He would also invite my family out to, like, do fun things with them and purposefully not take me so that he could groom them to basically like him and see him as a good person and not want him to go away. So of course they're not gonna fucking support me. And, but yeah, after I lost my shit on him and just called him like a deadbeat and just got angry and just like screamed and just like, I'm sick of this. Like, my name is on this lease. Why are you talking to me like this? Like, and my mom was standing in the doorway when this happened because I was in an argument with her over a completely different matter. And he just comes up and just starts trying to basically side with my mom just with the purpose of getting her to like him more and see him as like, oh, well, you're like the good child because you don't challenge me and like shit like that. Because my mom is very borderline and she does that. But yeah, she saw him like threaten me and later tried to tell me that, oh, he wouldn't have done anything. And it's like, he literally knocked me to the ground by my throat when I was 8. I'm pretty sure he was gonna hit me, especially because he made the point of qualifying the two things that make it okay for him in his mind to hit someone. I was 18, and I was a, he put up air quotes, boy. And like, I decided to leave, and after that I was homeless for 3 years. And in that time I was sexually assaulted again. I had gotten engaged to a girl that I was in love with and ruined that relationship through being unhealthy and also homeless. Just because, like, you know, me being homeless made me kind of unstable and I acted like a huge choke. So, you know, that was partially my fault, but partially the situation. Okay, it was my fault and the situation's fault. Because the reason doesn't excuse anything. Keep that in mind. So, this video is getting long. But yeah, so I have a trial tomorrow for this exact situation. I'm gonna have to see him in person again, like I did the first time I went to the court. And him and his girlfriend leered over at me and were talking crap. I'm just not ready, but I have to be. So wish me luck, okay? I'm gonna need it. Thanks for listening. This was, yeah. Later, guys.